Today, we're diving into an ancient text that's, well, it's part leadership masterclass and part superhero roster. These are the final words of King David. First, this beautiful, poetic vision for what it means to lead, and then boom, the real-life stories of the warriors who made that vision happen.
And really, this whole thing boils down to one central question. Is a leader's legacy built on their grand vision, the big ideas? Or is it all about the loyalty and the sacrifice of the people on the ground who actually believe in it? This text, it really digs into both sides of that.
So the story kicks off with the vision itself. And these aren't just some random thoughts from an old king. No, they're presented as his final inspired prophecy. It's this really profound take on good versus evil and the kind of mark a ruler leaves on their people.
Wow, what an image, right? David isn't talking about power or money here. He's talking about clarity, hope. A just ruler, he says, is like a perfect sunrise. It cuts through all the darkness and confusion, and suddenly everything is clear and full of promise.
And what's so cool is that this ancient poetry, it really just boils down to a very modern idea. Great leadership isn't about control. It's about creating an environment where things can grow. You provide the light, and people will flourish.
And he doesn't stop there. He keeps building on this idea of growth. You know that feeling after a good rain, when the sun comes out and everything feels fresh and new life just springs up from the ground? That, according to David, is what good government actually does. It nourishes its people.
And this is where the vision gets really intense. It lays out two paths. For the righteous, you get light, growth, a lasting legacy. But for the wicked, David just says they're like thorns, painful, useless, and eventually, they're just going to be gathered up and burned. It's a pretty clear warning. The way you lead determines your destiny.
Okay, so that's the theory, right? The beautiful, poetic vision. But what does that actually look like in the real world? Well, the text completely shifts gears here. It goes from the king's words to the absolutely incredible deeds of his most elite warriors, the mighty three. Just three. That's it. At the very, very top of this legendary army, there was this inner circle of just three guys. Their achievements were so insane, they were set apart from literally everyone else. That number alone tells you how exclusive this club was.
First up, you've got the chief, Josheb-Bassabath. He was the leader of this little trio, the first among equals, you could say. And his reputation was built on one single, mind-blowing encounter. 800. Yeah, you heard that right. The text says he killed 800 men in one go with his spear. It's a number that's almost hard to believe. It just sets the stage for the kind of superhuman scale we're talking about here.
Then there's Eleazar. Now his story isn't about a crazy high score. It's about pure, stubborn loyalty. In one battle, the entire army just retreated. But not him. He stayed, he stood his ground and just kept fighting, all by himself. And check out this detail. It's so visceral. It says he fought for so long and so hard that his hand literally cramped up and froze to the hilt of his sword. Can you imagine? He basically became one with his weapon and his duty. And the third hero, Shammah, his story is a little different. While everyone else was running away, he made his stand in the middle of a field of lentils. Now you might be thinking, a field of lentils, what's the big deal? But he was defending the people's food, a vital resource. It just goes to show, righteousness means defending what's important, no matter how small it seems.
But maybe the story that tells you everything you need to know about these guys isn't even about a battle. It's about their devotion. This next little story, it's all about the incredible bond between David and his men, and it all starts with a simple wish for a drink of water.
So picture this. David is cooped up in his stronghold. He's far from his hometown of Bethlehem, which, by the way, is currently occupied by the enemy. And he's just feeling nostalgic. And he says this out loud, probably not even thinking anyone is listening. It's just an offhand comment.
But the three, they hear him. And without even being asked, they take on this absolutely insane mission. They have to fight their way through enemy lines, get to the well, draw the water, and then somehow fight their way back. The risk was just off the charts. And all for what? A cup of water.
So when they get back and hand in the water, David is just floored. And he's horrified. He looks at the water and he doesn't see water anymore. He sees the lifeblood of his most loyal friends. He sees this huge sacrifice that he never, ever meant to ask for.
And in the end, he just can't bring himself to drink it. For him, that water had become sacred, so he pours it on the ground as a holy offering to God. It's his way of honoring the reckless, unbelievable devotion that his men just showed him.
But believe it or not, the story doesn't just stop with the three. The text then pans out, and it gives us this whole roster of other heroes. It really shows you the incredible depth of talent and courage David had around him.
I mean, just think this guy, Benaiah. His resume is just unreal. He takes down Moab's two best fighters. He kills a lion in a pit on a snowy day. He defeats this huge Egyptian giant by turning the guy's own spear against him. This is the kind of person who becomes captain of the king's bodyguard.
And Benaiah was a leader in this wider group, this elite guard known as the 30. So you can think of them as like the next tier of special forces, the absolute core of David's army. The text actually goes on to name them one by one, basically creating this written memorial to honor their service.
When all is said and done, the list has 37 names. And it's not just a number. Each one of those names represents a story of bravery and loyalty. It's this powerful reminder that a leader's vision is totally worthless without a deep bench of amazing people willing to fight for it.
And then the list ends. And the very last name, it's a gut punch. Uriah the Hittite. And if you know David's story, this name just hits you. Because the same king who wrote that beautiful poetry about righteousness was the one who arranged for Uriah, one of his most loyal soldiers, to be killed in battle to cover up an affair. This name, it's a stunning commentary on the huge gap between a leader's ideals and their actions.
Which, of course, brings us right back to our original question. You've got David's incredible vision for a just ruler, and you've got the incredible loyal actions of the people who fought for him. But you've also got the visionary himself failing his own ideals in the worst way. So what actually builds a legacy? Is it the perfect vision, or is it the imperfect people who strive, and sometimes die, to make that vision real, even when their own leaders let them down? Now that is something to think about.